You're looking at difficulties with daily living skills, like a little child might have difficulties dressing, putting the clothes on backwards, struggling later with tasks like learning to tie laces, learning to swim, learning to cycle a bike. And then, of course, in primary school, you're looking at a lot of difficulties with handwriting, and even the little kids with the colouring, that all being actually quite traumatic for them when they can't colour in the line, and other kids are maybe being mean about that. And then later on, in the teenage years, you're looking at things again like the handwriting and the need for assistive technology. But then things change a little. And the difficulties we notice are more around the organisation, being able to organise your environment, your study space, your school bag, your locker, difficulties remembering to bring things in for school, difficulties taking notes and listening at the same time. Really, dyspraxia affects people practically in a nutshell. This is something that practically affects people. Well, technically, the criteria for a diagnosis of dyspraxia would be you would score under a certain coordination score when you go for your assessment. It's usually the 5th percentile when you look at overall coordination. You'd also find that the difficulties with coordination have a very significant impact on someone's daily life, like difficulties handwriting, difficulties riding a bike, difficulties maybe cutting, using your knife and fork, things like that. Then your third criteria is that those coordination difficulties have always been there. Because obviously, if they're new, we're going to worry. We're going to think, what else might that be? And the final criteria is that there's no other medical or neurological reason apart from DCD dyspraxia for those coordination issues. And that's, in a nutshell, what DCD dyspraxia is. It's really important that people know things about themselves in order to deal with them. And I know that from life experience, from professional experience, and I know that from the research I've done for my doctorate as well. When somebody knows they have something like dyspraxia, especially from an early age, they're much better at feeling good about themselves, understanding why they struggle, but they're also much better at finding ways around it. And of course, getting early intervention, getting help as soon as possible is just crucial in order to make you resilient. That bounce back ability, that sense of, I can figure this out. I may not be able to tie my laces, but perhaps there'll be another way around it. And that kind of resilience keeps going right through adulthood, where you don't develop what I'd call learned helplessness, where you feel you're helpless and you're wondering why. Now you're like, no, I can change things, I can do things because I know who I am. The best thing is getting with other parents. It just makes such a difference. And over all my years, I've done a lot of groups with parents, and I'd have all this knowledge I'd be coming in with. And at the end of most of those groups, the parents would say, what really mattered is we met each other and we had a chance to talk. That's where it's like the magic lies there. Finally, somebody gets what you're going through, because I know as a parent of kids with DCD, you get really unwelcome advice, you need to do this, you need to do that, and they don't really get it. But you meet another parent of a child with some type of neurodiversity like dyspraxia, and you feel understood very quickly. And that makes such a difference to that kind of loneliness and understanding that system that we all have to negotiate, the educational system and all those things that are going to be along our road. If you know someone who's a little further along, it's so helpful. So parents helping each other, and that's where Dyspraxia Ireland comes in. They'll hook in with Dyspraxia Ireland. They'll let you know where those support groups are, and that's going to make such a difference to you. Because honestly, parents know more than they think they do. Like, I'm an OT, I've studied this, but parents know stuff. And if we can get parents together sharing, that is brilliant, and voices become louder, and that's what we need. My huge passion would be to see change and to see acceptance and to see us not expecting kids to fit in, but rather to change the environment to fit the child. I want the world to change to fit these kids. I don't see why these kids are always being asked to change to fit in, if you like.